What up, guys? So today's video is about something that almost everybody in Jiu-Jitsu will deal with at some point in time on some level, which is there is a stinky guy in this person's class. So this question actually comes to me from a beginner coach who has a stinky guy in his class. And he says the guy's been training for a couple months, and every now and then, he's like, I don't know if the guy's not washing his gi or whatever, but man, the guy just reeks. He stinks. And he's like, and I don't know how to bring it up to him. He doesn't stink every time, but he's like, when he comes in and he smells like that, I don't know what to say to him because I don't want to be mean to him. You know, I want the guy to keep training him. I don't want him to feel embarrassed, but man, he smells terrible. And so he's wondering, Chewy, have you ever had a situation like this? And how did you deal with it as a coach? And, you know, I'll leave this as a Bob question, so this way we don't call out your young student if he watches this channel. So let's get into it. How do you deal with a stinky guy in your gym? Well, I will speak to you from both sides of this argument, both as the person that was the stinky person, the offensive person, right? The stinky person, and then the person who had to deal with it. We'll talk about this part first. So one of the funnier, I think, stinky stories that I have is I came into the gym one day. I had just, you know, got done eating lunch, taking my break in the midday. I was coming in for the evening classes, and back in the day, we used to have a cage back right through here, okay? You may have seen it in some of my older videos, but we had a cage. There's a cage wall still there. And on some days, there would be a little crew that would go back there and they would drill and do situational rolling before classes got started, right? Before the evening blocks got started. And so I come in and my partners here were telling me, hey man, you gotta go talk to Mike back there. He smells terrible. He stinks, bro. And we're getting a bunch of complaints from other people. And I said, well, why didn't you guys just say something to him? And they're like, you're the coach. Fair enough, right? You know, I have to go talk to him, so I'm the coach. Let's go. So I go back there and I start walking towards the cage, towards Mike and these other guys, and I'm probably about 10 feet from this damn cage, and I already getting whiffs. I'm like, whoa, this like smells terrible. Which then, to me, I'm thinking like, how the hell are you guys sitting in this like close confined space with him and just getting these dirty gi fumes? Anyway, I go in and I see Mike there. I was like, hey, Mike, come here real quick. Come out, you know, just talk to me. And so I take him over in the corner because I don't want to call him out in front of everybody and embarrass him. I was trying to be nice. But I said, come here, Mike, let's talk for a second. And he's like, what's up? I was like, man, when's the last time you washed that gi, you know? And then he like does that thing where someone's searching for the answer because it's, you know, they're not quite sure. He goes, I think, and I stopped. I was like, no. I was like, if your answer is not an immediate last night after the last training session, whatever it is, like you got to take that home and wash it, right? You got to get that sucker washed. Because I thought that was probably going to be the answer, right? Like that he hadn't washed his gi, but I wasn't sure. Maybe he's got some sort of thing going on, condition that I don't know about, but it was just a dirty gi, right? And come to find out what he was doing was he would go into the gym, train, get done training, and he would just sort of take his sweaty gi and throw it over in the corner, go about his evening. The next day he would pick it up. It was mostly dry, and he would come back to do a training session, which is disgusting, right? I guess maybe you kind of like are comparing it to maybe like a pair of jeans, right? Like, you know, if I go on a date with my wife, you know, I'll wear a pair of jeans and we go out and do our thing or whatever, and then, or a pair of pants. And I don't always wash them because a lot of times they're not dirty, right? I didn't sweat in them or anything. So I just fold them up, put them back up. So maybe you're thinking it's along those lines, but I mean, not with a gi, not with a sweaty gi or rash guard. And so anyway, he starts wearing his gi, everything's fine. No big deal, no more complaints. Now, like I said, I used to be the stinky guy, and I was a stinky guy because of the amount of training I was doing, because back in the day, we only had we had classes all week long, but we only had one no-gi session. That was on Friday, and the rest of the week I was training sometimes twice a day. And so, you know, training twice a day, and I've got one gi, and so what I would do is I would train in the morning, go home, hang dry it outside if I could, or wherever I could find, and then I would dry. It would be mostly dry usually, and then I would wear it for the evening session, go train, and then I would just do that on those days, and I would wash it in the evening. Well, eventually someone came up to me and said, Chewy, and, you know, in a nice way, in a nice way of sorts, you stink. And then obviously I started to make adjustments to my training, and then also bought another gi so I could mix that into the routine and, you know, kind of take some of the load off the one gi so I could wash it. So anyway, here's what I'm getting to. I just wanted to share those stories because I think they're funny, right? Especially the stinky gi, man, it's rough. In Jiu-Jitsu, we're really, like, as grimy as a sport it is, we're very hygienic to a degree. I mean, most gyms are, some gyms aren't. I would be careful with a gym that's not hygienic, that doesn't mop the mats and doesn't take note of those things, because staph infection's no joke. I've had it before. It sucks. It's terrible. And I've had a buddy who almost lost a limb because of it. Not a fun thing to deal with. So again, with your training partners or with your teammates, your students, your training partners, and especially as a coach, you got to let them know, right? And you don't have to be an asshole about it. You can just come up to them and say, hey man, come here real quick. When's the last time you washed that gi? Just ask a question. You know, instead of accusing anyone of anything, instead of like, hey, you stink, just ask them a question that alludes to the fact that your gi smells terrible, right? I'll do this sometimes with guys that like hotbox the car, you know, like, because I can't stand the smell, the breath. Ugh, it's disgusting. So they'll come up like, and I'll ask them, like, hey man, did you hotbox the car today? And they'll kind of look at me and kind of like, yeah. And so I'll just run back here. I got some breath mints. I'll give them a breath mint. Like, here, just put this in while we're rolling because your breath stinks. But anyway, you know, again, that kind of thing. And again, you were talking about not wanting to be mean, right? You want to be nice to the guy. But look, we all want to be nice, I get it, but let's be kind to this person. You know, you as a coach, you're not doing him any favors by letting him be the stinky guy in class that nobody wants to roll with, that people are going to avoid, right? Just tell him he smells a little bit, right? In nice ways, of course, just so that he can get everything taken care of and people don't avoid the rolls. And so again, that's how I've dealt with it before. And again, that's how I would deal with it anytime. It's just ask the question, when's the last time you washed this, that, whatever, and then just bring it up. No big deal, right? Because we as coaches especially, we have to check the nails. We have to make sure, especially for the new people, because a lot of people just, they don't think about these things. They'll go to the bathroom without their shoes on and they're coming back ready to roll and you're like, your feet are dirty, right? Like we got to be careful about that stuff. Or they've got long nails and they're causing scratches and stuff. And so you got to check those people and you just got to let them know why we're sticklers about that. And a nasty gi, you know, when they have that smell on them, you know, that's not the smell of victory. It's not the smell of like effort. It's the smell of bacteria growing on them, right? So we want to make sure that they are clean when they get on the mat. So anyway, I'm done rambling about it. Hopefully it helps you, brother. I'll talk to you guys next time.